today's episode of the KGI podcast, we share a conversation with Ashley Mills, who is the director for KGI's Master of Science in Human Genetics and Genetic Counseling Program that is enrolling its inaugural class this August. Ashley is a licensed and board-certified genetic counselor with 7 years of experience in direct clinical patient care and genetics education. If you'd like to learn more about KGI's Genomic Data Analytics program, which is also starting in August, we encourage you to check out episode number 1 of this podcast with Assistant Professor Barbara Fortini. To start off, Ashley, I just wanted to get your perspective on how you first became interested in coming to KGI.
So I first heard about KGI actually when I was still living in New York. I saw that KGI was looking for a program director, and I just had my first child and looking to come back to California, where I am originally from, the Los Angeles area. And there were a lot of things going on in my life that a lot of adjustments that I wasn't quite sure that this was an opportunity that I wanted to seize. And when I moved back, I found myself working in reproductive genetics again. That is a large part of my clinical history or clinical career. And there was a student that I was the assistant program director for at LIU who really wanted to spend a summer in Los Angeles. And so I had connected her to a genetic counselor here. And through just a series of events, she actually became connected to the KGI program. And she is now one of the program leadership, Melissa Randall. And she connected me to KGI. And so when she reached out and said, KGI is looking for a program director, I think this, it just was the right timing. I had been back already for about 6 months, and it was an opportunity that I wanted to seize upon, a really just exciting opportunity. I had never heard of KGI before. Of course, I had heard of the Claremont Colleges, but never heard of KGI. And so it continued to pique my interest. And so I just went for it.
And obviously a lot of excitement ramping up to the launch of the 2 genetics programs, genetic counseling and genomic data analytics. Our first guest on this podcast is leading the data analytics side with your area, the genetic counseling program. What makes it so unique?
What actually really attracted me to the KGI program is the fact that it's really the first program for genetic counseling that is housed within a school pharmacy. And I think that is extremely unique and puts us in a really advantageous position in terms of what has been happening in the field with pharmacogenomics and just genomics in general. And so one of the things that really make our program unique, in addition to maintaining its traditional core and respecting the history of genetic counseling, is the fact that we're allowed to explore different areas of genomics under the umbrella of not just pharmacogenomics, but that is under the umbrella of precision medicine or personalized medicine. And that to me is really where is now, and it's also the direction of genetics, genomics, and genetic counseling. And so our program is unique in the sense that just in terms of the curriculum, we have an entire course on pharmacogenomics and precision medicine. And the focus of the curriculum really has to do with personalized and precision medicine. And I think that that's a really unique perspective to have as far as a genetic counseling program.
How do the 2 new genetics degrees fit in with the rest of KGI's degree offerings? If you want to touch on what's already kind of a key part of KGI's culture being the networking and the interprofessional collaboration.
Yeah. So in addition to what you said, I mean, there's definitely a sense of innovation here. And so as well as business. And I think that those are 2 really important elements to have for any professional program, of which these are training programs. These are not simply academic programs. At the end of the day, we are training professionals to enter the field to work with patients, to work in industry, to work in all facets of genetics and genomics.
For a prospective student considering applying to KGI in the area of genetics, what advice would you give them?
I guess one piece of advice that I would give prospective students is to really highlight in their application, because that is the first line for their exposure, is to really highlight different areas of diversity in their background, experiences, and as well as showing examples of leadership. We really want to have students that can be leaders in this field. And, going back to innovation and forward thinking, that is something that I would really emphasize, to make that extremely apparent and very well known, while maintaining a sense of self, knowing who one is, with humility as well. Obviously, there are other things that are incredibly important in order to really determine an excellent student for this program, your GRE, your GPA, and all of those elements as well. But really, what are some of the other things that would make you an excellent candidate for this profession in terms of thinking forward?
Looking to August, how many students are going to be in this first class for the genetic counseling program? And as a two-part question, when they get to campus for that first day, what's going to be going through your mind as you reflect on everything that's been put into starting the program?
So we are aiming for 12 students. One of our short/longer term goals for this program is to expand and be a large genetic counseling program. There is a lot of need. But we are going to start with 12 because we need to, of course, it's very important. It's not just about our curriculum here on campus. It is about our fieldwork curriculum and the work that we do with our community genetic counselors, our industry affiliates, being able to have site placements who are just as responsible for the training of our students. So 12 students, and we are part of the match. This is our first year for the match. Every program is participating. And what is going to be going through my mind? I think it's already starting now, but even before the first day of class, during orientation, there is just so much excitement happening. Of course, I'm hopeful and wanting everything to fall into place. We have no idea how these classes are going to turn out, how all of the really hard work is going to manifest. And hopefully I will be thinking and hoping that everything will run very smoothly. But, being that we are a new program, there has to be a lot of flexibility. Maybe something that we thought would be amazing, it may just not work out exactly the way that we wanted. So we have to be flexible in terms of making changes and adjustments in order to best serve our students, as well as the larger Los Angeles and community and Inland Empire as well. So it's really a combination of just pure excitement and also just a little anxiety in terms of making sure that our students will go through the program and walk away with the same amount of enthusiasm that they started with.
Earlier in this conversation, you mentioned the field work that will be ahead of these students as they enter the program. Can you elaborate on what opportunities are out there for them as they move through the genetic counseling program?
There are already there's a plethora of experiences that will be available to students. And we've worked really hard to set up affiliations with a lot of hospitals in Los Angeles and in Inland Empire. But in addition to that, so at places like Children's Hospital and Cedars-Sinai and Kaiser, Providence Medical Center. So there are really just amazing hospitals that we are affiliated with, and their genetic counseling teams, plural. But one of the things that I'm extremely excited about is that we are also partnering with a lot of industry. And so we are working on developing fieldwork placements for students at places like Ambry and Fulgent, Apologen. So all with genetic counselors who work at these companies, but really it's going to be such a unique experience because there are so many genetic counselors now work in a lot of different areas, remote, telegenetics, which those are some additional experiences that we will make sure that students have access to. Things like variant interpretation, marketing, business meetings, things like that are all really important and fundamental in a larger global understanding of where the profession is now and what genetic counselors are currently doing, but also how being trained in these areas so that upon graduation, they will be not just entry-level ready, but more than entry-level ready to enter the field, but also have a really good background about all the different areas that they can see themselves in the profession.
That's terrific. Thanks so much for joining us on the podcast, Ashley. And we can't wait to see the new students come through and enter the program and all the great success come into the 2 new genetics degrees that are starting in August.